Welcome, friends,
to the How-To Heretic.
I'm Uncle Mark.
I'm Uncle Dan.
And I'm Uncle Doug.
And this is your user's guide to life on the outside.
That's right. Leaving religion is the first step into a larger, better world.
But it can also be a scary world. Things work differently now.
Never fear. That's why we're here.
We're your audio uncles. And with help from good friends and experts in all sorts of fields.
We're going to share the stories and seek the knowledge to build a great life.
After all, you only get one that we know of, so you better make the most of it.
Hey guys, uncles.
We can do this.
Hey there.
Yes. I think we can do a show if we put our heads together.
Episode 90, we should fucking be good at this by now, but sometimes I wonder how we can
Did you know I just went to a podcast conference. And apparently the average podcast makes it to episode, anybody want to guess?
7.
6.
6 is the
I
correct
win.
answer. Most of them make it to about 6, and then they're like, "This is hard," and they go home.
What's our problem? We're still
We
doing
have
this
still
shit.
not figured it out. We still have not realized that we should stop doing this.
So here we are, still the triple threat.
Yes.
And we have a it's kind of a cult heavy show this week. So
Culty.
I like it.
I like it too. I'm going to start us off.
We're going to
with,
teach you which cult to join. So
Yes.
you guys listen, and by the end of the show, you'll have picked one.
I'm going to talk about something that is very much not in the new Green Deal.
Yes, indeed. I'm going to talk about a way that you should definitely not heal yourself.
And I'm going to talk about all the great ways to be an asshole.
Yes. That's
Well, we
true,
talk
you
about
are.
that every week, but this week is...
No, I feel like we demonstrate it every week, but we don't talk about it, and I think that's where we can really improve.
Let's do some talking about it. So come on in. It's a fun show, and not a ton of people die, but some do. So enjoy, and let's do a show.
Woo!
Hey, Uncle Doug.
Uncle Dan.
I hear that that there is such a thing as celestial bodies. Have you heard of this?
I've heard of it.
Are you aware of this?
I haven't seen one in the mirror in a long time.
If you look up at the firmament, which, as we all know, is a lens-shaped dome over the Earth,
Right.
It's
over
true.
the
It's true.
flat Earth,
Yeah, it's
there
true.
are bright lights up there.
One in particular.
Yeah, and frankly, I want to know how to worship that motherfucker.
Well, guys, maybe I've got something for what ails you today.
Nice.
Yeah, and it may not be celestial bodies, but there will be celestial corpses. So strap in.
Oh, nice. These always go well.
Yeah, all right. So let's we're going to talk today about some folks, and guys, we've met quite a few folks through our weekly internet radio show over the past year and a half, and good and bad, but mostly bad, or maybe
Mostly bad.
maybe more accurately, mostly so-so people duped by seriously bad people. But the glue that binds all our stories together is, of course, the idea of some god, the supernatural, the irrational, and often the insane. But it is a very sticky glue indeed, and is often the case, that glue is blood glue, a glue made of blood. So we've discussed a lot of cults, from the Church of God with Signs Following to the People's Temple, the Nubian Nation to Heaven's Gate, and even something called the Catholics. But as long as Al Gore keeps his internet open, we could have one of these gruesome chats once a week for all the forevers. So numerous are the constellations of terrible ideas and men. And yes, it's almost always men, but not exactly always. We're looking at you, PZ Knight. Who use them to rob, fuck, and murder their sadly all too willing flocks of credulous, vulnerable, and oft-times desperate people. So this week, I'm going to introduce us to just such a sad mess of belief, money, and tragedy. And I think the important lesson to take from this week's special guest is that no matter how benign you may think it is, when you spin lies about a perfected eternal afterlife that Joseph Smith himself claimed you would kill yourself to catch a glimpse of, you are potentially setting in motion events like those we will be discussing today. So,
Yeah.
before we dive in,
there's always a body count.
there's almost always a body count. There's enough of a body count to give one pause. But before we dive into all the comedy, I don't know if we three have ever had an open discussion about what difference there is, if any, between a religion and a cult, or if it matters at all, really.
You know what? I on Thank God I'm Atheist, I've had some in-depth discussions about that difference. It's tricky, though. It's not an easy cut and dry sort of thing. There are different ways of making that distinction.
Right. My thinking has always been, if it's a few people, it's a cult. If it's a lot of people, it's a religion.
That's how demographers actually talk about it. They talk in terms of membership numbers.
Right.
Well, Steve, Robert Lifton's definition, which I'm paraphrasing a little bit, that I've always liked, is a religion becomes more cult-like based on how difficult it is to leave. Right.
Yeah, there are a lot of sociologists will talk about how a cult has, if it's difficult to leave, if you are going to be shunned by the people who you most admire, if you don't conform,
right?
The tighter the controls, the more cult-like it becomes.
Right, and I think you and Frank might have discussed Stephen Hassan's bite model once or twice, which I think I'll put it in the show notes. I think that's a very useful a way to kind of establish if what you are thinking of joining or what you suddenly found yourself born into is more cult-like. So it's behavior control, information control, thought control, emotional control, and
urinary tract control.
Right, and breath control, right. So which is anal. Anyway, but
it's also a system of control in a way, because cult is negative, religion is positive. So the moniker cult is often used to disparage, while religion is used to kind of bolster.
Right, and one cultish, when Frank and I were having the discussion about were we raised in a cult as former Mormons.
Yeah.
I reluctantly came to the conclusion that, it kind of is. I mean, it's controlling enough that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
But then what's great is that you get to hear some cult religions disparaging other religions as cults.
Right.
You can definitely get a Mormon talking very denigratingly about Scientology and that cult.
Exactly.
Which is our mother used to scream about the Moonies all the time. Like, how could they not know they were in a cult?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's a very subjective term, but I think today's subject, any way you slice it, pretty much qualifies as a cult. So let's jump in. Let's meet the Ordre du Temple Solaire, or more precisely, l'Ordre International Chevaleresque des Traditions Solaires. Thank you, French listeners. Merci.
I think
our French listeners just shot themselves. Or, as numerous press reports and police departments eventually recorded them, the Order of the Solar Temple. Fair warning, which, as listeners likely know by now, is pretty boilerplate for our podcast. There will be graphic descriptions of violence in this segment. So, so the Order of the Solar Temple was founded by a couple of highly suspicious personages, Joseph de Mambro and Luc Jouret, in Geneva, Switzerland in 1984. Those are like Bond villain names, right? So
totally.
Something's up with these two. So Jouret was a Belgian born in the Congo, formerly of the same name, who first trained as a real doctor before chucking all that to become a, quote, doctor of homeopathy. So not a doctor at all, since, as we all know, water can't remember if you yelled at it or not. So as woo can be the slipperiest of slopes, covered as it is in oops, I added an extra E in there, an essential. It's an appropriately Utah accented version of that. So essential oils. He also became a believer in and lecturer on all things paranormal. So through this community of kooks and mid-level marketers, he made acquaintance with Joseph de Mambro, who had, among other things, in his long spiritual quest, long been a Rosicrucian. What is a Rosicrucian? That's an excellent subject for a whole segment another time. But
yeah, we've dipped our toe in Rosicrucians before.
They keep popping up.
Yeah.
They keep popping up. But it's basically like a Freemason, but with more secrets about ancient wisdoms and a very deep belief that their magic is real.
Right.
So
But it
robes.
turns out that those secrets are so secret that they keep them even from themselves.
I think you're describing Mormons.
Well, now we know that our friend Joseph borrowed very heavily from a secret society. So this is familiar to Mormon ears. So
yeah.
So they have robes, handshakes, secret orders, etc. DeMambro was apparently very influenced by a very famous Rosicrucian, and the subject of my segment just a couple weeks back, the wickedest man in the world, black magician Aleister Crowley. And I swear, it's almost alarming how many times the dots between fully disparate topics we cover connect, right?
It turns out that the entire world of our subject matter is one pinball machine, and we just bounce off of everything left and right once we set that ball into motion.
Well, I'd ask where it ends, but we all know it ends with the Jews.
Of course it ends with the Jews. I mean, we could just say, welcome to the How to Heretic, the Jews, the end. So this thing is less like a bulletin board covered in yarn and more like a sweater. The yarn just loops around and intersects until you've got a perfectly good sleeve of crazy. So
a nice cable knit nutballism.
Yeah. So as we discussed in that segment on Crowley, these old esoteric, semi-Christian, but mostly syncretic, meaning like just cobbled together out of all kinds of shit. These secret orders have levels of advancement an initiate must pass through as they earn and, yes, pay for the privilege of higher rank and greater mystical knowledge. This not only impressed one L. Ron Hubbard, whose eyes lit up like a slot machine when he considered a pay-as-you-go path to enlightenment, but it was of great interest to Jouret and DeMambro as well, especially because if you're the one who starts the new order, you can just tell everyone you already ran that spiritual obstacle course, so you're good to go. So
yeah, exactly.
These wannabe wizards start the Order of the Solar Temple in Geneva, Switzerland in 1984. And they immediately attracted followers from the worlds of homeopathy, UFO and paranormal enthusiasts, and dabblers in a variety of esoteric orders. So basically all the same world, right?
Yeah. Shouldn't be, but yes.
It pretty much is. And they did indeed place themselves atop 3 levels of advancement for their members. The first, the Brothers of Parvis. Everybody loves Parvis. Second...
My dog had Parvis once.
Yeah, and that was the first order of the Solar Temple.
Right.
Second, the Knights of the Alliance, which sounds very cool. Who doesn't like a good alliance?
Yeah, or a good night.
Or a good night. Good night. That's what that comes from. Mm-hmm. You were wishing someone a good soldier.
Yeah.
Then one would finally advance to the Brothers of Ancient Times, which... After those first 2 sounds kind of lame, doesn't it? So other than Jouret and DeMambro, the group was administered by the Synarchy of the Temple. The top 33 dudes in it were called the Elder Brothers of the Rosy Cross. So
that's a Rosicrucian reference.
That is. So it's basically Dungeons and Dragons for bored middle-aged Swiss people and Quebecois. So,
yeah.
But wait, there's more.
But the difference is that their magic is totally real.
It's totes real.
Dungeons and Dragons is just a silly game for children.
Yeah, it's totally true. And in addition to all the fancy names and titles, these people had costumes. So I think Stanley Kubrick must certainly have been a member because their art direction is right out of Eyes Wide Shut. It's fancy red and white hooded robes, red ceremonial rooms hidden behind hinged bookshelves down secret passages, and even a ritual sword that DeMambro said was his when he was a crusader in a former life 1,000 years past.
100%. I love it.
This is amazing. It's going to get
on board.
It's going to get better before it gets worse.
Nice.
And that brings us to the next fascinating fact about these druids of the MTV age, which is they said they structured their church and their chivalrous society on that of the Knights Templar. Now, who were the Knights Templar? Again, a great subject for another segment that we'll get to at some point. But in brief, they were a Catholic military order formed in the 12th century that took in donations with which they built almost 1,000 strongholds and accommodations for Christian pilgrims to safely visit the quote-unquote Holy Land, I hate that term, as well as being highly accomplished Muslim killers of the First Order.
Yes.
So,
and hiders of the Holy
Grail.
Grail?
Grail.
And Dan Brown can tell you where it is, but you have to solve his riddles 3.
His riddles 3. They were so successful in doing this work and took in so much money that they became, this is an interesting fact, one of the world's first multinational corporations. Yeah. Anyway, the tide turned against them. The King of France tried to destroy them rather than pay back the money he owed them. A lot of them got burned at the stake, which, as we all know, was an occupational hazard for anyone that happened to live within 500 miles of the closest Catholic in the Middle Ages. And then the Pope disbanded them forever. Amen. Anyway, right. The Order of the Solar Temple claimed to inherit the secrets and the chivalry of the Templar Knights, but Jouret and Dimambro mostly liked how they attracted money and how they groomed and cultivated the rich who had all that money. So these two did something a tad uncommon for cults we've looked at. They catered almost exclusively to the rich and connected, where, as we know, other charismatic leaders... It was a smart move until it wasn't. Other charismatic leaders like Jim Jones and Joseph Smith found eager recruits among the desperate and the illiterate and impoverished classes. The Solar Temple wanted real money and power, and so fancy rituals and costumes in forest retreats in the Alps was more their style. Once again, very eyes wide shut. You don't give the code word to concierge Templar-themed sex parties to just anyone, right?
Right.
Motherfuckers get the code word after the money is wired to a numbered account in Zurich and not before. So, what was this? What did this secret order believe in? What was the goal? According to one survivor, and that word is going to have meaning soon, it was establishing the correct notions of authority and power in the world, which sounds a little spooky to me. But they were also... And
just esoteric enough that it doesn't mean anything.
Right, exactly. It's like sort of Nazi, and there's some weird neo-Nazi connections to it that don't matter so much, but are hardly surprising. So they were obsessed with a great future environmental catastrophe. That's never going to happen because Trump told me so. Right. And they wanted to prepare the world for the second coming of Christ, who would rule forever as a solar king, and they were pretty sure they could unify all of Christianity and Islam, a modest goal that a cult based on the imagery of Christian crusaders came so very close to achieving. So they saw themselves as the future leaders of a great transition that would occur after the massive environmental disaster. So basically a New Age millennialist cult. And after they assisted humanity through this turbulence, flying saucers would whisk them away to their great reward.
Yay! Yay!
Yep, everything touches, baby. For the great reward in the binary star system, Sirius. What could possibly go wrong?
I'm so happy. I am so happy right now. I want to join. I don't have the money to.
I'm going to change that for you. So oddly enough, that was the same star that the mass suicidists of Heaven's Gate were heading for, as discussed in episode 61. Again, more yarn for our sad, dumb sweater. So, anyway, something did go very wrong indeed. And it's not totally clear how things fully fell apart. But the Canadian government was looking into money laundering charges against the group in Quebec, where one of the founders was caught trying to buy guns and silencers, a thing that can actually cause shame for a person in Canada, which is crazy. But those seem like pretty minor, even classically typical issues for even a mainstream religious group, right? Like being shitty with money and buying weapons. It's like, bring a book, snoozer. So anyway, the following series of events were only put together after a long series of investigations, but it seems sometime in October of 1994... Dimambro declared the 3-month-old son of two members to be the biblical Antichrist.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You have made bad choices, my friend.
Yeah.
That's not going to go well.
They're going to make worse choices. So somebody, it's believed on Dimambro's order, killed the boy's parents, stabbing his father over 50 times and smashing his head in with a blunt object before driving a wooden stake through the baby's heart. Which was only discovered after they found the infant's body behind a water heater. So, perhaps, sensing that this sort of thing would affect the wrong kind of attention...
I'm just going to tell you that the room over in this part of the world just got very chilly. I'm just letting you know. You took the air out of it.
Yeah, most def.
It got pretty bad for these folks. So, sensing, of course, that this would attract the wrong kind of attention, DeMambro and several followers had a ritual Last Supper at a high-end restaurant. Following that began an insane cluster of suicides and murders in Switzerland and Quebec. In Chéry and Salvan, Switzerland, 15 of the inner circle poisoned themselves, while 38 were shot or asphyxiated. Many of these bodies were found in a secret, mirror-lined underground ritual chamber in their robes, lying in a perfect circle with a plastic bag over and a bullet hole in their heads. Other victims, including the bodies of several children, were scattered around local ski chalets, and toxicology found most of the victims, including the children, had been heavily drugged prior to death. And to make matters somehow worse, most of the crime scenes were either set on fire before the last members killed themselves, or timed devices did it. So several farewell notes were found saying they were anxious to flee the hypocrisies of this world, which, you know, we all are, you crazy fuckers. That's what booze is for.
Right.
Lunatics. So a year later, a murder-suicide of 16 members occurred in the mountains of France. They were laid out in the shape of a star, and like the others, drugged, asphyxiated, shot, and burned, like, you know, Rasputin level, make sure they're dead kind of thing. 2 years after that, in 1997, firemen responded to a small house fire in Quebec in which they found 5 more ritually dead Solar Temple members. They also discovered 3 teenage children of 2 of the deceased, heavily drugged but alive in a shed behind the house. Somehow, they had convinced their parents they needed to live.
Oh, wow.
So that's really an amazing silver lining to this whole cloud, don't you think, guys?
Well, the thing is that, like, a lot of these cults, you hear a lot about suicides, sometimes murder, whatever. But, like, just leave the kids out of it.
Yeah.
It's so much funnier if you just kill yourself, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you do you, like literally.
Yeah.
Well, and I got to say, we cover so many of these cults that are American-born. It always kind of warms my heart when one comes from, especially, you know, the arrogant French. Yeah, you're just like us.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Swiss.
Derp,
who knew?
Derp is derp the world over. We're fine.
Yeah.
And
even in Canada. Yeah. Even in Canada. So there's a crazy aside that these kids, once they kind of were stabilized after their weird drug issue, were able to tell police that the dead cult members had turned their incendiary device on and off 5 or 6 times over the preceding days because they were agonizing whether or not this was the right moment to fly off to Sirius together. Oh. So that's something.
You do have to pick timing is everything. Am I right? You don't want to show up uninvited at the and then they're in the middle of a party and you're all it's embarrassing.
Fashionably late.
At the speed flying saucers move, you have to time the departure perfectly, right? So all told, that's 74 violent deaths as a result of the Order of the Solar Temple. And for those keeping score at home, it's definitely not the highest number for a religious group, going just a tad further than most with their obsession with a glorious afterlife, but that would probably be the Thuggees would be in the lead, and then probably the People's Temple after that. But it's better than the Manson family or the family of David, so it's a good middle-of-the-field body count. Right, guys? If we're
I feel like we're doing okay.
Because if we're becoming a sports show, we might as well report on the sport we know.
On the stats.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fucking nightmare. So
we're gonna be turning into one of those fucking murder podcasts if we're not careful.
Yeah.
Then we'll have all the millennials listening to us.
I think we turned into that long ago.
We got turned.
So apparently there are a few members, unbelievably, of the Solar Temple left. And apparently the police, especially in Quebec, check in on them during solstices and equinox, which is their preferred flying saucer embarkation via self-immolation dates. But thankfully, it's been pretty quiet since 1997. So if I can offer any advice for eager spiritual seekers out there, once you've got the robe and the special sword and the password to the sex party with masks has been DM'd to you, and it seems like it's going to be an amazing night of chanting around the chalice, and then a guy asks you to kill a 3-month-old baby with a wooden stake, give it a rethink, okay? Yeah. Maybe say you left your baby steak in the car and go call the cops, yeah?
At that point in time, I think it's safe to call it a cult.
Yeah, exactly. I think they've made it. They've crossed that threshold. Yeah,
so,
it does seem like what's funny is that it's one of those things where you talk about the turning, putting the frog in the pot of water and then turning on the heat. As it gets hotter and hotter, you don't necessarily notice that it's getting cultier and cultier in here. But yeah, I mean, when it comes time to kill somebody's baby, or even just to kill anybody, frankly, you might want to reconsider.
Right. If you look like a druid in red silk and you're in a secret basement mirrored ceremonial chamber, and there's a baby on an altar, and you've got a wooden stake, I don't know. Maybe call your dad. I don't know.
It might be a good time to sit down and just do a little bit of meditation.
Do an inventory on yourself.
take some time for you.
Hey,
before you take that next step.
Go and let the Scientologists audit you a minute and just see if that works out.
Or come over to our place. We've got an e-meter.
That's true.
We can do exactly the same thing. So anyway, guys, that's the Solar Temple. Live it, love it, learn it.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm going to shake off all of the oogie and move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Uncle Doug.
To who?
Remember the thing I showed you, the little growth I showed you right on my back there?
I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, right. It hasn't, despite application of all of Western medicine's knowledge and abilities, it still hasn't gone away. So I'm kind of feeling at wit's end.
Who uses Western medicine?
That's right, everybody. Yeah. We're going to be talking about vestigial tails today.
It's lump talk.
Mark, has it stopped migrating? Tell us that.
No. It is the wall has not prevented it. So I'm just hoping for some remedy here.
Well, don't worry. Even if Western medicine, a.k.a. medicine, has failed you, there are people that can help you.
Oh, thank God.
Tell me, how does your herb cabinet look?
Well, probably a lot like you think.
Okay,
I don't have one.
Perfect. We're going to get you into see a naturopath or a naturopath or a That's right. Today we're talking about naturopathy or naturopathy or any.
These are people who are psychopaths about nature. Go on.
That's right. Correct. Correct. And before you at me about the pronunciation, I have heard actual practitioners of this art. Well, I don't know what to call it, of this practice.
Yes.
Call it both. All of these pronunciations.
It's a bit of a red flag.
The fact that they don't know how to pronounce their own thing. Yeah. Maybe. Could be.
Yeah.
I've only ever heard it called oncology.
Nope. That's a very different thing. As is osteopathy, which I had to go down that rabbit hole a little bit. Which, by the way, osteopathy turns out is actual medicine. It's if you get a doctor of osteopathy, that's a medical doctor who has all of that medical doctrine plus a little bit of woo, which is funny.
Yeah, sure.
That's not what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about naturopathy. There's a long history of naturopathy, which they claim goes back to Hippocrates and maybe back to the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda or of Chinese medicine. They use all of the ancient wisdom.
Right.
Sure.
So that's really good.
Right. All the ideas people had before we knew what made you sick and how to fix it.
Right. Before we knew anything about anything.
Yeah.
They put all that in a poultice and stick it on your
before we
sore.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the fields of aviation and rocket science could benefit from ancient wisdom.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
The appeal to antiquity is a strong and powerful fallacy. Anywho, this goes, the current incarnation of this particular practice goes back to the 1800s, probably mid to late 1800s, arising out of Europe's natural cure movement, in scare quotes, with probable influence by all sorts of American kooks like Kellogg and Graham, and a lot of appeals to ancient wisdom, untainted by the stupid nerds who jabbered all the time about this newfangled scientific method.
Dopes.
So the undisputed champion of naturopathy in the United States was a German-born fella delightfully named Benedict Lust. Yeah, really sexy.
That's what I call Benedict Cumberbatch.
That's right. That's what everyone calls him. He didn't invent the term, though. Apparently, he bought it.
He bought the term of naturopathy?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
From a guy named John Shiel. But that doesn't matter. It's his now, and he can do with it whatever his lusty little heart desires.
Absolutely.
Nerdy side note, if you're going to buy a word that somebody just made up, at least make sure that word isn't a mongrel word. Natura is from the Latin, meaning nature or birth, and pathos is from the Greek, meaning suffering. So, come on, if you're going to come up with a new word and you want it to sound all fancy and like science-y, keep your ancient origins consistent.
That's a Mediterranean mashup right there. That's no good.
That's
no good.
I'm not a fan of hybrid words. Then again, we got a lot of them.
Yeah. That's putting your tzatziki in your marinara. That's no good.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
This is my point. That's exactly my point. End of this segment.
Right.
In 1896, Lust opened a health center and a health food store in New York City. He had been sent to the U.S. by one of his proteges, he was the protege of a guy in Germany. Sent him to the U.S. he was a proponent of hydrotherapy at the time,
Hydropathy, Dan.
Thank you. And there are all of these sort of wooey things that were just sort of floating around in the ether, and everybody was claiming to be able to cure everything. I mean, let's not forget that this is still the time of like snake oil and like actual like
again golden Bibles.
Right? Yeah, and fucking people using cocaine to cure everything in the world. Anyway, he opened a health center and a health food store in New York. Also opened the New York School of Massage and the American School of Chiropractic. So he was a busy little beaver. And in 1901, he opened the American School of Naturopathy or Naturopathy in Manhattan.
Yeah.
He served as that organization's only president at the time.
Yeah.
A disciple of a guy named Adolf Just, or Just, as we would say it.
Lust and Just, huh?
Lust and Just.
Yeah.
What's funny about that is that after I read that, I actually wrote a limerick. It's so stupid, but I was just like, that's just, I don't know, too good.
Are you going to share it?
Do I have to?
Well, what you do now.
Okay, fine. Here, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we
ready.
go.
Yeah.
A German named Benedict Lust learned nonsense from a fella named Just. They claimed to be healers, but were just bullshit dealers. The lust that you just shouldn't trust.
Oh, that was great.
That's it. We're done. The show's over.
Huh?
Yeah.
We did it.
You did it.
Oh, I feel better.
That was
I
great.
feel good.
I feel like there's a lot of limerick pressure on the rest of us in the
Yeah,
coming
I know.
episodes. So get ready, people.
I mean, you guys don't even haiku. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, hey now. I fucking haiku, all right? I fucking haiku. A limerick is a little comical for me, but a haiku I'm deadly serious about. But let's go on. What were we talking about?
When you do something Japanesey, you'll break out the haiku.
Herbalife, that's what we're talking about.
Yes, indeed. Yes, actually, but
Yeah.
we'll get to it.
All right.
There's a lot more history to this thing, but frankly, I'm bored by the history of it. Let's talk about what it is. So there are principles of naturopathy, including, you won't be surprised to learn, the healing power of nature. One of the most basic concepts is that our bodies all have sort of an inherent ability to maintain and restore their own health. And all you have to do is support that ability, and all of your problems will just go away. A lot of our problems are just caused by, an imbalance. And if this starts to sound a little bit like, the humors or any other sort of long discredited sense of how the bodies work,
Right.
correct. It does sound like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They're big into identifying and treating the cause of the thing, not the symptoms. So, so they
because the symptoms won't kill you and they don't hurt.
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, they will say that symptom management is a thing, but and boy, does it sound good when you go in and you're like, oh, my side has a thing, or I'm hurting in the thing, and they go, oh, let's figure out what the cause is. Those are symptoms.
It's literally the doctor, my arm hurts when I do this. Don't do that.
Well,
cured.
No, not don't do that. Let me show you well, first of all, let's talk about your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And then that bone that's poking out of your arm will be fixed.
That's right.
So they're very into that. They're very into treating the whole person.
Of course.
One delightful doctor said, "It's more important to know what sort of patient has a disease than what sort of disease a patient has."
Oh my God!
Yes.
Wow.
I love that one of the websites that I went to that was promoting naturopathy, quoted Thomas Edison, which I think a higher source one could not go to, who said, "The doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest patients in the maintenance of the human frame, in diet, and the prevention of disease." So they talk a lot about diet. They talk a lot about...
That sounds about right.
Prevention. Prevention's a big deal.
Was the doctor who gave us that quote earlier, did his name happen to be Tobias Funke?
Yes.
Was just
100% that's who that was.
Are you right for the disease? Is the disease right for you? Fucking insane.
Now I should mention, caveat emptor, one thing that the discerning consumer should know is that there is a big difference between what is called a naturopath and a naturopathic doctor, a.k.a. a naturopathic medical doctor.
Okay, great. Good to know.
It's a very big and very real difference. A naturopath is someone who could have just taken some online classes and gotten a certificate about herbs and energies and cheese and shit. Obvious bullshit.
Sure.
A naturopathic doctor actually went, and this is true, to 4 years of accredited graduate schooling, often did a residency, and in many states is licensed to practice. So their bullshit is much less obvious.
But their bullshit costs them a lot more to get.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, exactly.
But make no mistake, it is still fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
They go through a lot of training, and they do get some of the same basic, like scientific medical classes that doctors get. But then they branch off into unsubstantiated, non-scientific nonsense.
Foofery, yeah.
Indeed. So it's funny because if you ask a naturopathic doctor if they are a homeopath, they will get very offended. However,
whatever.
If you ask them if homeopathy is part of their practice, oh yeah, 100%. They're super into that. It is like completely integral to their practice. But they look down their noses at a homeopath because that's not a real doctor like I am.
Oh my God. Okay. So dumb.
Yeah. So, they recommend all of the good woo. They like the acupuncture, the chiropractic, the massage, the herbs, which, while some of those things can be helpful, spoiler alert, not acupuncture, they're not going to cure your asthma, which is what they say it will do.
Right.
I'll just give you an example of some of the recommended treatments. This is from Bastyr University, which is in, I believe, Washington, and they have a campus in San Diego. And they're one of the big, quote, accredited naturopathic doctor schools.
Okay.
So this is the treatment for angina. Nutrient therapy with selenium, CoQ10, magnesium, and niacin, limiting fat intake, removing sucrose, alcohol, and caffeine from the diet, botanical medicine, doses of ginger, ginkgo biloba, aconite, and bromelian. Now, if you happen to be a type A personality, then you should also probably go through a detoxification diet, colon hydrotherapy, castor oil packs, food allergy elimination, juice fasts, hormone replacement therapy, lifestyle changes, and monitoring of uric acid levels.
I just want to understand, what is colon hydration therapy?
Just what you think it is, Doug.
Okay. It is. It's
yeah.
I think it's like
get a hose up there and turn it on.
High colonic.
Yeah.
So there you go. That sounds easy enough, right?
Yeah.
And also will not treat your angina, but you'll have gone through a lot. So at least there's that.
Right. You will have given up everything good in life, but
You'd be so miserable you've forgotten about your angina.
Right, yeah. So none of this will do anything for your angina. But you know what's not good for angina? Not treating angina. So there's a real problem here. And part of the problem is that people, proponents of naturopathy, are constantly lobbying for more recognition by the idiots that we have running our political systems. And many of those idiots believe them. So what we have is 26 or something states and several provinces in Canada that actually license these bozos to practice some sort of quote unquote medicine. So,
right,
including our fair state of Utah.
Duh.
You're right.
Yeah.
These people can see they have a clinical practice. They can put a certificate on the wall that says Doctor of Naturopathy and stuff, and they can say that they're licensed. They can use a whole bunch of words that we in our society believe means they are qualified to treat us.
Yeah,
and
I think
they're not.
Go ahead.
They're very much not qualified to do that. Even though they've taken a lot of classes, they've done some clinical work with patients. It's all of that clinical work was taught to them by other naturopaths. So they don't have real proper medical training, and it shows in their outcomes, which you'll be shocked to learn aren't great.
Yeah,
right.
Surprise.
Right. Now, mind you, do they have vast literature on how good or bad their outcomes are? No. Why? Science isn't their thing, so they're not really working hard toward that end, and that's kind of what the problem is.
Right. If all their terrific old Chinese medicine worked as advertised, Chinese people wouldn't die. But as Woody Allen said in Sleeper, when his friends had all it was 200 years in the future or whatever it was, and the doctors are like, you have to understand, all your friends, everyone you know, they're all dead. And he said, but they all ate organic rice.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all going to die, and it's a good thing, I think.
Well, and I wanted to look this up just to make sure I was right, but I did, and I was. Aforementioned Thomas Edison died of complications from diabetes. So
yep. He knew all there was to know.
Right.
I mean, yes. If there's a greater authority on the health of a human being than the guy who invented the light bulb, I don't know who it would be.
And he died of diabetes after he electrocuted an elephant to death. So fuck that guy.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I'm glad you drew that line. That's perfect.
Yeah. I think that's the line I draw right there.
Right. If you want to look further into this stuff, there's a crusader against this practice named Britt Marie Hermes, who is she's a very smart young woman who actually was a naturopathic doctor, went through all the training, had a practice, and then actually figured out, oh, wait a minute, I'm doing something that I'm not actually qualified to do.
Right.
And sort of had an epiphany and has been crusading against it ever since. She has a really smart website called naturopathicdiaries.com, and she just sort of talks about she's now got, I think, a master's degree in science, and she talks about the difference between her experience and what she learned in her naturopathic education versus what even a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant learns in their studies. For instance, the hours that she studied pharmacology, 27.5 hours of pharmacology study, as opposed to a nurse practitioner who can get, 100 to 115 hours.
Wow.
Or a physician's assistant who can get anywhere from 90 to 120. So, but if we turn it on its head, she got 88 hours of homeopathy, and they got 0. So she's really ahead of them on that. And she got 132 hours of botanical
there you go.
study, and they got 0.
The glass is half full of hemp extract.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
The other and she got 203 hours of manipulation, which they didn't get any of, which is like, basically it's just massage. You know what I mean? Like that and a little bit of chiropractic thrown in just for fun. Jesus. Just so they got 0 of any, these quote unquote real doctors.
Newfangled Western doctors.
Here's the thing. Some of this stuff might be useful.
Yeah.
How do we know? The FDA doesn't regulate any of the dietary supplements that they're recommending. And the problem is that some of these dietary supplements, maybe they're fine on their own, but they can be dangerous in combination with each other or in combination with actual drugs that a person might be taking.
Right.
But people love to add their complementary medicine and their alternative medicine to what their doctor's already doing without actually checking in.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's in the best interest of the supplement companies to never have any science done about them unless they've funded it. Because the last thing that they want is for people to find out that it might interact with something, and then they don't sell as much. So there's very real danger with this stuff. And,
absolutely,
it's one of those things where I can sympathize. A lot of people, they go to a doctor, and they have a really negative experience. Either the doctor or a series of doctors wouldn't listen to them, which is the case for especially women in our system. They don't get listened to. So they get disillusioned with doctors and therefore with Western medicine. And then they go to somebody else who has the word doctor in their title, who is licensed in their state. And that person is nice and says all these things about, like, your body knows best. And, we're going to treat this with herbs, and we'll give you a massage, and who doesn't like that? Mm-hmm. And they traditionally spend a lot more time with their patients, doctors of naturopathy. Some of them even, like in some states, they can even charge your insurance, your medical insurance. So it's like the experience is a very different one, and I think a lot of people really prefer
focus on customer service.
Right? Yeah, exactly. They prefer the emotional experience of going to these people.
Right. Well, it doesn't mean that there aren't problems with how proper Western medicine is delivered.
Yeah.
Right. That
100%. That is a real problem.
That's a real fucking problem that needs to be fixed. That doctors spend 2 seconds with you, that you can't get an appointment, you may not have insurance, you may not even have access to Western medicine because of how fucked up the commodification of it is, especially in the United States. So that needs to be fixed, but it doesn't mean the answer is try anything but Western medicine.
Right. And the other thing is that, like, maybe you had a reaction to a drug that you were prescribed and you had a really bad experience and it was worse than before and whatever. So all of that stuff, that can happen with our current medical system. Yeah. However, our current medical system actually has, when you have a bad reaction, that gets taken down and that gets added to the literature, and then if too many people have the same bad reaction, the FDA goes, you know what? We have to not do this drug anymore. Too many people are having a bad reaction. Or we've now noticed that this drug now interacts with this other drug. Right. And all of that is very well tracked. So over time, the science works.
It gets better.
And things improve.
Yeah.
Whereas
and if enough people get addicted to OxyContin, eventually we won't do anything about it.
Right. Yes. Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah.
The science is it's a perfect system, is what it is.
It's flawless.
But the fact that it's a very much imperfect system doesn't mean that an even imperfecter system is what should turn to.
Yeah,
that's right.
So there you have it. Naturopathy, naturopathy, however you pronounce it, even if it's got a good limerick about it, it's still probably not a good idea to go to. Don't waste your money.
That's right.
And you know something else that can be found in nature? Bullshit. So stick that up your butt and see how it makes you feel.
All right. Well, let's move on.
Uncle Doug.
Hello.
Again, here we are, show 90, as we said at the top of show 90. And,
nice round number.
It's a great round number, and it's just as one random goddamn piece of beautiful thing. So here we are, asking the good people out there who've stuck around this long, You're a fool for trying if you leave now. So stick around with us and throw some money in the kitty. Throw some money in the kitty and help us out.
We like to pass the plate around, and that plate is digital, and you guys have to actually do something. So that sucks. We should find a way to actually... We're going to show up at your house. That's what we're going to do from now on.
It's a cost-effective way to get more patrons.
Exactly. We're going to just show up. We'll sign you up ourselves. Or you can go to howtoheretic.com. That's pretty easy to find.
Go to the Support Us link and click on that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you'll be one of the better people in the universe, like unto those that I'm about to name. Are we all prepared?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody ready? Okay.
Ready.
Good. Do you feel grounded? Do you feel... Anyway. Thanks so much. Go out to Aaron, Susan, Rebecca, Democracy is Zucked, Gary, More Pie, and that's it for this week.
Well, right on, guys. Thank you.
You guys are special and better than most, and and we like
and we love our ugly children too. We love our ugly children too. So
it's true.
So if you can give us money, we love you. If you can't, please go anywhere you can give us 5 stars. It's something, it makes us feel alive, and that really helps. It actually spreads the word and pushes us up on the algorithm somehow. I don't know how math works.
Yeah,
so
your new name is algorithm.
That my new name algorithm. So do that. Let's blaspheme together, and with love in our hearts, let's move on. Uncle Dan.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Do you ever feel like you shouldn't contribute anything to anything?
Always. It's why I'm the weakest link of this show consistently.
Well, outside the show, I just wonder. I wonder if that attitude splashes over to the rest of your life.
Notice, Mark, neither of us corrected Dan when he said that.
Without me, you're nothing. I'm the only one who knows how to operate all of the equipment.
Exactly. He's got all the microphones. It's like the kid with the pool. You have to be his friend because you swim at his house.
Let me tell you. Here's the thing. I don't need any of you people. You people are all just nonsense to me, and I don't need any of you.
Right,
and that's how I feel.
And I feel like you probably shouldn't think any more about that position and just go with it.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah. I don't know, Doug. Where do you come in on this?
Uncle Dan, I have the philosophy for you.
Perfect.
It's hard to say.
Philosophy for Lou.
Dear uncles, I have been dreading this day. My only consolation is that in 30 or so minutes, this nightmare will be in my rear view mirror rather than staring at me in the face like a misaligned 19th century hood ornament.
I'm going to point out, dear listeners, that Doug chose this for his damn self.
I did.
None of us put this in front of him.
It's true. I have pushed off this subject because I didn't want to talk about it because it sucks.
Okay.
But today I have decided that like any English major forced to read her books, I just want to check it off my list. Right. Today we're talking about Ayn Rand.
Ooh.
Ayn Rand.
I had a libertarian chill run down my spine.
Yes.
You may well ask, why is an atheist-themed podcast covering a very pro-choice, militantly atheist, mostly disreputable wannabe philosopher? Well, it turns out that Rand actually checks a couple boxes for our show. Her present-day followers would qualify as a cult under almost any definition. And I think that's fair. She is most definitely a woo to watch out for.
Yeah, right.
And on top of that, a lot of the cruelty we see in our current political environment can be laid at the feet of Madame Rand.
Right.
And we're at just
and that she has been taken up, this atheist pro-choice person has been taken up by the radical religious right in this country as well.
It's amazing. It's kind of shocking how much they venerate this person, considering all of the things that she
hated them.
Yeah.
Considering how much she would hate them. Exactly. Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But they love Jesus. They love Jesus too. So there's no explaining taste.
Square that circle. Were it just that, we could have had a lighthearted romp through her prolific work and unlikely life. But what makes Rand not just silly but dangerous is that the membership in the aforementioned cult consists of some of the most powerful people in this country, counting among their ranks senators, Supreme Court justices, and even presidents.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Although
not our current president. He doesn't know how to read.
Exactly. Her work is made up of Trump's kryptonite, the written word.
Yeah.
So let's get this over with. Now, Rand lived quite a life. Truly, she did. So I thought we could kind of work our way through her life and works to the present day, and then we can, do the biographical stuff, and then we can discuss her impact and role in modern American life.
You guys can handle this without me, right? I'm just gonna.
As a counter proposal, can we just have a whole segment about why the name Ayn is a thing?
Oh, we will get to that.
Oh, really?
All
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I would recommend listeners, if you're not interested, just turn off the podcast at this point. It's gonna be dreadful for a while.
Just unsubscribe.
No, I feel like we're bad at this. I feel like maybe this is not how to do a show.
Just pick subjects that are just impenetrably terrible.
Why did we pick these subjects as show?
It's fine. Just don't say run away now. Just maybe say this is going to be a lot of fun and everybody's going to have a happy time.
Can't tell a lie.
But that's a lie.
Yeah.
All right.
We talk about lies constantly. Why can't we engage in them every now and then?
That's a good point.
So fine point. It's going to be great, guys.
This is going to be fun. Here we go. Ayn Rand was born Alyssa Zenovyevna Rosenbaum in St. Petersburg, Russia, in 1905, to a Jewish bourgeois family.
I was going to say, it's a little Jewy.
Yeah.
At a time when that particular combination of characteristics was about to have some really bad decades.
Yeah.
She apparently started writing...
After all their amazing decades prior to that in Russia.
Exactly.
Yes.
It was a bit of a comeuppance, for sure. She apparently started writing novels and screenplays at the age of 8. She was good friends with Vladimir Nabokov's younger sister, and spent a lot of time in that household. So would starting to hone her writing skills at such a young age and hanging out with one of the 20th century's greatest writers help improve Rand's writing later in life? The answer is no. At 12, her family...
It's not chicken pox. It doesn't spread like that.
It does not. It is not contagious.
Yeah.
At 12, her family fled to Crimea after the Bolshevik Revolution, where Rand would finish high school. It was there she realized she was an atheist and that reason was the greatest of all virtues. It's nice to know that Rand herself must have been just as insufferable in high school as any present-day high schooler who reads her books.
Right, yeah. Although I got to say, it's just a really good reminder that people like us... like sharing our belief system doesn't make you a cool, good person.
Right, exactly.
Right.
As I am constantly reminded of when I go to YouTube or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Her family returned to St. Petersburg, now Petrograd, when she was 16, where life was not what they remembered. And according to her, they nearly starved on several occasions. However, on the upside, women were allowed to attend university under the Soviets, so she got a degree in history and learned to read English, French, German, as well as Russian.
That's good.
Yeah, that's
a good thing,
right? Pretty amazing.
Yeah,
it was there she was exposed to the teachings of Aristotle, Plato, Nietzsche, Dostoevsky, Hugo, Rostand, and Schiller, who she claimed as major influences in her work. So would studying history's greatest philosophers, often in their own native tongues, help her to create a coherent, viable philosophical edifice? The answer is no. Okay, so it was at this time that she came to America and changed her name to Ayn Rand for reasons that are not officially explained, but it was possible that she was trying to protect her family back in Russia because she was to become a pretty prominent Soviet critique of the Soviet regime. However, I believe it was an anagram for Annie Nard, a term to describe the type of person that would eventually read her books. Also, I assume because the anagram for Alyssa Zenovyevna Rosenbaum is Amazonian baloney survives. And what are you going to do with that?
Right.
Here in America...
Pretty clear. It's pretty clear.
That's right.
Yeah.
Here in America, Rand tried to break into the movie business through acting, writing, and even costuming. Although she had some minor success as an extra and got 2 plays produced on Broadway, one even making it to the silver screen.
Like you said, she had more success as an extra.
She did. She was an extra in King of Kings by Cecil B. DeMille.
Oh, really?
But wait, what was her play that was on Broadway that got a movie?
It was called, you're going to put me on the spot. It's called like the 16th of September. Oh. It was kind of interesting. It was,
the play was... remember?
Yeah.
The play called the 16th of September.
Is that Phil Collins?
No, fuck off with that.
The play was kind of cool. They would select the jury from the audience, and then depending on how the jury passed verdict, they would have one of 2 endings they would perform.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah, it's not a terrible
that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
God damn it.
But it turned out her dreams of Hollywood fame would be fleeting, and luckily, history is free of examples of failed European artists going on to do bad things.
Right, yeah.
Right.
So Rand turned her considerable lack of talent to fiction with her first novel, We the Living, a semi-autobiographical book set in Bolshevik Russia. I only mention it because it was initially unsuccessful, but after the success of her next 2 books, We the Living was brought back to print, eventually selling over 3 million copies.
Wow.
Yeah. Her next 2 novels were, of course, The Fountainhead in 1943, followed by the much longer and colossally stupid Atlas Shrugged in 1957. And by applying my trademarked Doug's first rule of the Bible, longer is by definition worse.
Also, I'm just going to point out, listeners, that I know what you know, which is that Doug just doesn't understand those books, because if he understood them, he'd think they were the most brilliant books that have ever been written. So I get it, you guys. I get it.
Did you read between the lines, Doug? Did you do that?
So does it seem like 14 years is a long span of time between her 2 most famous works? Yes. After all, the entire career of the Beatles was less than 10 years, and it was only 4 years between post-grunge Christian power group Creed's first album, My Own Prison, and their 3rd and final album, Weathered. And before anyone asks me, I am very well aware that Creed reunited in 2009 to release Full Circle, but Creed without bassist Brian Marshall is not the real Creed I spent 2 minutes researching yesterday.
I've started to hate you. What's happening?
Dan, I love you with arms wide open.
Oh God. Okay, I've got to go take a shower. You guys continue.
So, but Rand was busy in those 14 years, as we'll talk about in a second. So let's first talk about the book that catapulted Rand out of obscurity and into every white male freshman's dorm room, The Fountainhead. Clocking in at a lean 753 pages, it is primarily the story of architect Howard Rourke, apparently based loosely on Frank Lloyd Wright, and his lifelong journey to not change at all as he overcame his rivals and went on to marry his twice-divorced rape victim. That's right, rape victim.
Okay. So Frank Lloyd wrong.
Yeah, no, exactly. The main character of this book rapes the other main character of this book early on. So there's that.
Sweet.
It culminates in Rourke on trial for having dynamited his own building project because of changes that were forced on it, giving such a stirring monologue on ego and the human spirit that the jury finds him not guilty. It is long, arduous, one-dimensional, long on monologue and short on substance, and I will admit I didn't hate reading it. I would never recommend it, and I would never read it again, but I think just the sense of accomplishment of having gotten through it made me happy, like watching every season of Doctor Who or winning the Whack-A-Mole World Championship with nothing but my forehead.
I read Infinite. At some point, reading Infinite Jest, I was like, you're not going to beat me, motherfucker.
Exactly.
I'm going to finish you fucking son of a bitch.
Due to its plotting plot, long, unbroken monologues, and unsympathetic characters, it was only adapted once for film in 1949 with Gary Cooper and Patricia Neal, of all people, in the leads. It flopped hard and was widely panned by critics. In the years since, though, many directors have expressed interest in giving it another go, among them Oliver Stone and Zack Snyder. So, go for it, fucking Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Could that be more perfect?
Yeah, exactly, because what a 753-page book needs is lots of slow motion.
Right, and also what a book by an atheist author needs is everything to be Christian somehow.
Right, do it.
Do it. Why not?
So let's talk about the 14 years in between the 2 books for a second. With the successive Fountainhead, Rand gathered around her a group of her most influential admirers, among them one Alan Greenspan, who would go on to be the second longest-serving Fed chair in American history.
Jesus Christ.
This group referred to itself ironically as the Collective, and soon turned into kind of a sex cult, with couples swapping partners and everyone dressing like Rand, who, if you have not seen photos of her, looks like Tilda Swinton after a 6-month coke binge in the dark, and got her wardrobe exclusively from the Nosferatu Spring Collection of 1947.
It's a severe look. You've got to really commit to the bit if you're going to dress like Ayn Rand.
She has one of those faces where when she smiles, you feel like she's casting a spell on you.
Totally.
When she smiles, you feel like something has gone horrly wrong.
Yeah,
but her eyes are still fully dead when she smiles.
Yeah, you don't want her exhaling on a button from your coat.
Don't know what that means, but I really like it. Please don't explain. I just like it.
Okay. Sure.
Somebody out there's laughing.
Not us.
This brings us inevitably and unfortunately to Atlas Shrugged. If brevity is the soul of wit, this 1,168-page instruction manual on selfishness is the soul of twit.
Oh my God!
This was meant
1,100 pages.
1,168 pages. It was meant to lay out.
She couldn't make it to 12.
Yeah, right. Ran out of paper.
The government took the last pages.
It was kind of meant to lay out her political philosophy in painful detail, which she called objectivism, and which I'll call stupid. More on that later. The plot of Atlas Shrugged revolves primarily around Dagny Taggart, a railroad baroness, and Hank Reardon, a steel magnate, and their struggle to seem like actual people. It's set in
their struggle to exist in 3 dimensions.
Exactly. It's set in the United States on the brink of economic collapse, mostly due to an activist federal government choking business with unnecessary regulations. Oop, sorry. That sound you just heard was Paul Ryan's erection slapping the underside of his desk. The regulations are so stifling that business leaders, led by the mysterious John Galt, start disappearing all over the country, leaving their entire industries to collapse under the leadership of lesser men. This is the origin of the world's dumbest question: who is John Galt? Dagny manages to track down the striking magnates in their secluded mountain hideaway, imaginatively called Galt's Gulch. Now, dear uncles, there have been many stupid plot devices in popular culture. Verbal Kint was Kaiser Sose, Bruce Willis was dead all the time, Jared Kushner is qualified. But none of them can touch the towering stupidity of Galt's Gulch.
No.
Yeah, apparently these titans of industry are boycotting a world that's not sufficiently obsequious to their genius, so they set up a mountain town that they run themselves. Meaning, like, plumbing and electricity and
garbage collection, sewage.
Can they
food
please do
supply.
that? Can this really happen in real life, please?
It's happened. There have been a couple tries that have ended in absolute fucking Lord of the Flies catastrophes and lawsuits.
On more than one occasion, they've people, like rich people, have tried to set up their gulch. But the first time they ring their little bell and no one comes running, it just turns into chaos.
No, you're my servant. No, me. Exactly. I had more money than you.
Oh, it's so stupid.
I win more.
So eventually, Galt goes back to New York, takes over a radio station, and this is true, gives a 70-page monologue on individuality and the evils of giving a shit about others.
No. Are you serious?
70-page, unbroken monologue.
Of one of the characters just speaking?
John Galt, just giving his philosophy for 70 pages.
And there's hardly a period, right, Doug? It's just like a run-on sentence.
Basically,
Look, I don't know how to read, but that sounds really long.
I feel like if you can't make your point in 50 pages, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's about the length of the church and the Negro, right? And that guy made a lot of points in that book.
Yeah. Exactly. If you can't bring in your philosophy in a nice trim 25 pages.
Again, 70 pages in the context of 1,160 other pages, right? So, like,
I mean, the other characters have to be given their equal time.
True, and that's what happens. Is it's just monologue after monologue. Oh my God! The book finally ends with Galt and his crew preparing to remake the world. I was not happy about reading this book. The attempts to bring this direct to the big screen have been equal parts concerted and hilarious.
They're amazing, these movies.
They're so bad. The project was greenlit and then abandoned several times until 2011, when Atlas Shrugged Part 1 was released. It raked in less than 4 million domestic and scored an astounding 11% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
But it starred such B-list celebrities as Taylor Schilling from Orange is the New Black and as Dagny Taggart, and Grant Bowler from True Blood as Hank Reardon. This would not be the case for Part 2, with, let's just say, lesser celebrities reprising those roles. Atlas Shrugged 2, The Strike, netted less than its predecessor, scoring just 4% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh my God.
And it's
4%?
4%, and it's just worth mentioning Part 3, Who was John Galt, featuring an entirely new cast, the third in the series, made less than $1 million and scored a perfect 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh my God! This is like saying Ayn Rand found success as an extra. These are extras who found success getting speaking parts in an Ayn Rand movie.
She paid it forward.
Yeah.
This leads us to the final of the 3 legs of the stool for the common tool: Rand's political philosophy itself, objectivism, aka "I got mine, motherfucker."
Right.
Now, this pseudo-philosophy is all dressed up in big words and fancy pronouncements about objective reality and inductive logic. But Rand herself boiled it down nicely for us, the virtue of selfishness.
Yeah.
That is to say that acting exclusively for one's own self-interest, not sparing a thought for anybody who is not you, is the highest form of morality. Furthermore...
Wait, are you saying that that's not the case?
That is her...
I'm saying, are you claiming that somehow she's wrong?
Yeah.
Because that sounds perfect. And if you disagree with me, I'm leaving.
You got to go to your gulch?
Yeah, I got a gulch.
Going on strike?
Uncle Dan's Gulch.
You don't want to go there.
We took a blood oath we would never speak about on the air.
Yes, indeed.
Furthermore, in this philosophy, government has no place regulating industry and no business redistributing resources from those who have much to those who have little. Sorry, that tremor you just heard was Paul Ryan's seismic orgasm.
Yeah.
Would it surprise you to know that this philosophy, quote, quote, has been rejected by nearly all of academia because it is, hold on, let me check my notes, dumb. Not only is it prima facie immoral, short-sighted and cruel, but we actually gave it a go in this country. The United States of America tried very hard to implement objectivism in our economic and political system, and you know what we got? The fucking housing crisis and the 2008 financial collapse.
Yeah.
Right.
Lest you think I'm exaggerating.
But next time.
Yeah, right.
It's going to be good.
We just did it wrong a little bit.
It doesn't fail, it's only failed.
It needs
That's right.
It just needs a tweak.
So, unless you think I'm exaggerating, let's return to our good friend Alan Greenspan. As we mentioned before, he was so close to Ayn Rand that he quite literally knew what she tasted like. And in his tenure, you're welcome.
I don't know what that means. Did they make out? Did they?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they were all fucking each other.
Yeah, they were all
that
they
was
were?
the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She had a literal cult.
She had a cult.
This ancillary cult that has sprung up after her death is different than what she actually had in life, which was an actual fucking cult of devotees that surrounded her. And she fucked them.
Greenspan was... Oh, my
Greenspan was one of them. He was, prominent. So,
Jesus.
Right.
In his tenure as Fed
I
chairman...
really didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm actually genuinely surprised by this.
That's
And in
crazy,
fact,
isn't it?
his wife, Andrea Mitchell, is on, is it NBC News?
MSNBC.
MSNBC. And I think if you look at her, she looks a lot like, and I'm not being insulting, I just think she looks a lot like Ayn Rand.
He had a type.
So he's definitely got a type. Yeah.
So in his tenure as Fed chairman from 87 to 2006, he did his level best to inject Randian ideals into our economic system. He's widely considered to be one of the architects of the crisis, and in congressional testimony in 2014, after the crisis had happened, he said the following, quote, "I found a flaw in the model that I perceived is the critical functioning structure that defines how the world works." End quote. In other words, I figured out who John Galt is. Turns out he's an asshole. So,
Wow.
it's kind of easy to see why a philosophy that sounds kind of intellectual and that justifies keeping all your money and not helping others would be attractive to a certain type.
Yeah.
What's crazy, like Uncle Mark said, is that she has become a darling of the religious far right. It's crazy because aside from being a strong advocate for abortion rights, she fucking hated religion.
Yeah.
Hated it.
Yeah.
Huge swaths of The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged, as well as much of her other writings, are pretty well thought out arguments as to why religion is poisonous and is used by evil men to control the masses.
Correct.
And not for nothing, but objectivism is about as far away from Jesus' teachings as one can get.
Yeah, it does seem like maybe I got mine. It wasn't Jesus' sort of central tenet. It was more of a peripheral idea that was floating around the edges of Jesus' philosophy.
And just before you're tempted to cast her in a more favorable light for some of those beliefs, she hated homosexuality and thought all those in need of government assistance were parasites. Ironically, she herself went on to Social Security.
Oh, no. We knew this.
Yeah, right.
This was coming.
Of course.
Yeah.
She went on to Social Security and Medicare in 1976 as she battled lung cancer after a lifetime of heavy smoking. So,
weak ass.
Does turning to big government handouts in her time of need lessen the impact of her philosophy of rugged individualism? Yes.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely, it does.
There's no such thing as, if you're going to be a rugged individualist, get out there and fucking kill a bear with your bare hands or something, because otherwise, human beings rely on society.
That's right.
Ding dong.
So in 1982, Rand died as she had lived of heart failure and is buried, not deep enough by my estimation, in Valhalla, New York. Her work unfortunately lives on, and amongst her most famous and outspoken fans are Clarence Thomas, Paul Ryan, who required everyone who worked in his office to read Atlas Shrugged, Ron Paul and his son Rand, Yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Probably, right?
For
No,
absolutely.
for sure, yeah.
Oh,
Named
God.
his son after Ayn Rand.
Oh, my God.
Glenn Beck and even Ronald Reagan. There are many, many more.
Now, let's
Too
just
many to-
rewind a second. If you know who Ron Paul is, Ron Paul named his son after a Jewish atheist woman.
Yeah.
Pro-abortion woman.
Just roll that, or just swirl that around in your mouth for a minute. It just tastes amazing.
Let me just tell you, I'm not going to swirl anything about this segment around in my mouth at all.
Yeah.
That's a hard line I'm drawing.
All right, I just want to end with this. Like, there is nothing of value in Rand's work. Nothing. There is nothing she said about religion, objective truth, economics, history, whatever, that many others have not said better. You can wrap your arms around the entirety of her career and just throw it in the trash bin. In fact, the sooner we do that, the better. So
Yeah, well,
Did I tell you my little anecdote about the Atlas Shrugged, where my former roommate, a guy I was living with years ago, he was dating a girl who also happened to be Russian, just randomly, but she insisted she was all about it. We were we were just out of college. She was just insisting he read this book. I was sitting in the living room one morning, and he just comes walking out of his bedroom, holding the book, looks around the kitchen, didn't say anything to me, opens a drawer, pulls out a big serrated bread knife, and he stands over the garbage can, and it was a hardbound Atlas Shrugged, and he just took the bread knife and sawed the spine in half and threw it in the garbage and went back in his bedroom.
so an inspiring work.
yeah.
Yeah, it's an inspiring work. So enjoy it. So get back to us, people, with your book reviews.
Yeah, exactly. Don't read these. If you haven't, don't. I mean, do it, but don't.
I mean, it will be it's a Herculean effort and a marathon clearly not worth running.
Exactly.
Right, and much like the labors of Hercules, totally useless.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Doug.
It's off the list.
Putting yourself through all of that. I don't know why you did, but there you have it. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Well, friends, that is it for this week's show.
Hey, we'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and send us an email. Tell us which cult you're joining. howto@howtoheretic.com.
And if you know the secret password to the sex party with masks, please leave us a voicemail about it at 903-88-HOW2, which is 903-884-6986. And if you've been invited to that party, please do call the police. I'm also on Twitter.
Alan Greenspan is there, too. So
That's right. Alan Greenspan's there. So I'm also on Twitter. You can tell me all about Alan Greenspan there.
Yeah. Thanks so much to our patrons. We love you very much.
And we love Cody Layton, whose cult we belong to, even though he edits our show.
Yes, indeed. And thanks so much for tuning in, everybody else.
Bye, friends.
Bye-bye.